I'm Makiko Tsuda. Over the next 2 weeks, I'll be bringing you the show from the Edo-Tokyo Museum in Tokyo's Sumida Ward.
The Edo-Tokyo Museum in Sumida Ward, also known as Edo Haku. Originally opened in 1993, it's a space where visitors can look back on the history and culture of Edo and Tokyo, and to imagine the future of the city and urban living. In March of this year, the museum celebrated its grand reopening following an extensive 4-year renovation. Showing us around is the museum curator, Daigo Kosakai.
I understand there was a major renovation. How has it changed?
We improved access for people with disabilities and strengthened universal design throughout the facility.
To also allow international tourists to get a full experience, they offer English explanations, as well as audio guides and informational terminals supporting 13 languages. Additionally, Braille maps and wheelchairs are readily available for visitors. Getting off the elevator on the 6th floor, the first thing that appears is the Nihonbashi Bridge, which remains an enduring symbol of Edo and Tokyo. This replica of the Nihonbashi Bridge stands between the exhibition space on the 5th floor, dividing it into 2 sections, the Edo Zone and the Tokyo Zone. Makiko walks across the Nihonbashi Bridge.
It's a really big bridge. I'm sure lots of people crossed it.
On the other side is a large white noren curtain.
It intentionally cuts off the line of sight, and once you step through, you find the exhibition space.
I go through and... wow.
Beyond the curtain lies an exquisitely detailed model of the Edo townscape in the early 1600s.
This model represents the area where the common townspeople lived. But if you compare it to the model of the Daimyo feudal lord's estate over there, the scale of their residencies is night and day.
It's incredibly big. The whole town can fit into the feudal lord's estate.
We wanted visitors to see the vast scale.
Visitors can also experience what life was actually like in Old Tokyo. First is a Daimyo Kago, a feudal lord's palanquin. A passenger sits inside a small cabin, which is then carried by people in the front and back using poles.
Let's take a look inside. Go inside. It's not that spacious, but you can easily sit down. And there's a window. You can kind of see through the blinds where you're going. The space is minimal, I can tell you that.
Getting in, while it's not unbearably tight, you still have to stay quite hunched over the whole time. It couldn't have been a very comfortable ride.
It might not have been the most comfortable, but a vehicle like this wasn't something just anyone could use. It was strictly reserved for individuals of a certain status.
In the Edo Zone on the 5th floor, visitors can get a first-hand look at the everyday lives of the people of Edo. This is a Nagaya, a single long building, partitioned by walls to create multiple separate residences. Looking inside,
Wow. So this is where they lived. Is this the kitchen? Is this how big a regular person's home was?
The best way to explain it is that it's like an entire family living in a space slightly smaller than a modern one-room studio apartment.
So everyone lived together in just this one room.
next is equipment used by farmers to collect and transport night soil for their farms.
This is heavy. I'm barely able to stand up. I can't believe they actually walked around balancing this on their shoulders.
It's about 26 kilograms.
26 kilograms? Wow, people long ago were really strong.
This is a model of Nakamuraza, a kabuki theater that was a form of entertainment for people at the time. Visitors can step into this full-size space to experience the historical atmosphere firsthand. Next week, we'll be exploring the Tokyo Zone to learn how the cityscape and people's lifestyles changed over the centuries. We'll also be introducing must-try eats only offered at Edo-Haku.